Hey guys, how's it going? I've been wanting to do a contact science update video since my original video like a year ago, but I'm waiting for some more significant changes, either, adding Steam audio or they add a new pair of headphones or something. So now's the perfect time. In patch 12.4, they added another pair of headphones. This is going to be an interactive, fun video. I think we can all kind of have some fun here and learn a little bit. And I didn't want to interrupt the video with any ads in between, so let's get some news and some updates out ahead of time, and then we'll crack into it. All right. As many of you guys know, I am sponsored by the fantastic folks over at JUJU Energy. They've been a huge supporter of the channel, and if I ever have the chance of doing content creation full time, it's going to be through a foundation of relationships like I have with JUJU. I have a goal that I want to hit in the next 2 or 3 weeks, having to do with sales numbers. And the amazing part is that if I'm able to hit the goal, I'm going to be able to sit down with like their fucking flavor scientists or whatever and work with them to design my own custom flavor, which is nuts. They've already got a ton of awesome flavors. My favorites right now are Grapesicle, Blue Raspberry, and Bomber Pop. Anyway, so I'm considering a few options right now for some new flavors that I would personally enjoy, and I think a lot of you might as well. Maybe something like coffee related, vanilla, mocha, something like that, or something crazy like creamsicle, orange and vanilla. I don't know, we'll see. But if you guys want to help support the channel, you want to help me live the dream of creating my own flavor, get me one step closer to being a full-time content creator, and you want to drink something that tastes fantastic and will give you as much energy as a labs stimulant shot straight to the heart, then click on the link that I'll toss in the description, jujuenergy.com, and you can use code Veritas10, get 10% off. And if you spend over $100, it's free shipping worldwide, and I believe it's over $30 free shipping in the United States. So it's a win-win-win. I hope you guys enjoy. You'll have to let me know what you think, but without further ado, let's crack straight into the science, shall we? Alright guys, so throughout this video, I'm going to be playing audio samples from within the game for each of the headsets, and I'm going to leave it up to you to find which sound profile you prefer. Now the catch here is that I'm going to be doing it blind. I'm going to be giving each headset a letter, and I'm going to play their sounds back to back, one by one. What you're going to need to do is grab a notepad, your phone, a sticky note, something, anything that you can use to keep track of which letter, which options you prefer the best during each test. So for each of the 12 or so tests, you're going to want to write down which letter or letters sounded the best to you, and then at the end I'm going to be revealing which was which, and you can total up the scores and have your own sort of personalized objective score for each headset. Now when listening to these sounds, consider a few different things. How often and long you'll be listening to these sounds, if they're going to help or hurt the fatigue of your hearing, over a long play session, if you're a solo player versus a team player, and how the sounds of your teammates may influence your decision, and, whether or not you think they'll provide you an advantage or a disadvantage at any point. There are 6 different sets of headphones currently in the game. The Peltor Compact 2, the MSA Sword and Supreme, the GSSH-01, the OpsCore Fast Rack headphones, the Peltor Tactical Sport, and the new Razer Digital headset. Now, for the sake of saving time, at the moment, the Swordens and the OpsCore Fast Rack headphones are basically identical in terms of how they affect the audio in the game. So I'm only going to be using one in the comparisons to avoid redundancy and to make this, as succinct as possible. The only noteworthy difference between the Swordens and the Rack headphones is that the Rack headphones can't be worn as standalone headphones. They can only be mounted inside select helmets like the Fast MT. So for the remainder of this video, I'm going to be referring to both whenever I mention Swordens, so just keep that in mind. So, how do these headphones work, and what is it that they do exactly? I'm going to do my best to provide as accurate an explanation as possible on the most relevant factors given my limited perspective. The active headphones in Escape from Tarkov do 3 major things: ambient volume reduction, compression, and equalization. So let's first start with ambient volume reduction. You can think of sounds in Tarkov as being in one of two major categories: ambient and impulse. Ambient noises are background noises, generally from the environment. So this includes wind, rain, birds chirping, the atmospheric sounds of the various environments like factory buildings or underground. Impulse noises are generally instantaneous, sharp noises like gunshots, explosions, the sound of a door being breached, etc. We're going to come back to impulse noises a bit later, but for now let's focus on ambient volume reduction. The sounds of rain and wind can often be quite overpowering in Tarkov, very often masking the sounds of approaching threats. Now, while they can provide an immersive and sometimes even enjoyable ambiance to the game, they really don't provide you a tangible benefit, so reducing them as much as possible is generally desired. Now is a good time to do the first batch of tests involving ambient sounds. Now, note real quick that I'm not going to be changing the order of the headsets. Each letter is going to be the same headset between each test. The order will not change. Keep an open mind and think about what it is you like the best, why. If some of the differences are huge, if some of the differences are unnoticeable, and try to figure out, what you prefer. Let's start with the standard daytime outdoor ambience. Moving on now, let's compare how the rain sounds outdoors. And now rain indoors. All right, so I'm super curious now. I'm wondering if any of you guys are seeing any patterns emerging, or if your results are all over the place already. Don't worry, there's more interesting tests coming. We'll get to those. But let's move on to compression, which is one of my favorite topics and one that I personally misunderstood for over a decade and only recently came to understand it over the last year that I've been producing, mixing, and mastering my own music. Let's see if I can break it down in an easy way for you all because I can't believe I misunderstood it for so long when it's really quite simple. Compression is, put simply, the process of reducing the dynamic range of a sound. In the realm of audio, dynamic range is the difference in volume between the softest and the loudest part of that sound. Compression takes the softer sounds and makes them louder, and the louder sounds and makes them quieter. Let me show you an example of what simple compression looks and sounds like using a quick recording inside of my DAW Logic Pro. First, I'm going to play something on my guitar that, has a decent noticeable dynamic range. All right, now let me apply a compressor to it that's going to reduce this dynamic range and listen to the sound differences. Now you can also see how compression works visually here by looking at the waveform of the audio. Now, as you can see here, there's loads of parameters that you can set on a compressor to change how it affects your sound. Each of the headphones in the game has their own set of parameters for things like attack, release, threshold, etc. There's plenty of resources out there for you to learn more about these values. There's no need to dig further into them for this video, but let's listen to a few more examples from the game, this time a set of impulse noises, so you can see how compression makes a difference in the different combat sounds of the game. Now, finally, let's look at equalization, or EQ, which is the process of adjusting the strength of the different frequencies in an audio signal. And most of us are familiar with the low, mid, and high EQ settings in, say, a car stereo. This is also an EQ, just an overly simplified version of one. You can boost or reduce certain frequencies to achieve the desired sound profile, or completely cut the sound at certain frequencies entirely. Each headset has parameters for what's called a high-pass filter. Now, high-pass filters, as the name implies, they let higher frequencies through, filtering out lower frequencies. Each headset has a specific frequency wherein any sounds below this level are reduced or cut entirely. The extent to which this reduction occurs is based on the resonance value. Some are quite drastic, while others are more modest. Now, every sound has its own set of frequencies that it can be predominantly heard in. Thunder or explosions are examples of deeper, booming, lower frequency sounds, whereas something like a ricochet or a whistle tends to be, predominantly higher pitched. Very often, depending on the material that the person is running on, footsteps can be quite bassy or on the lower frequency side of the spectrum. So headphones cutting or boosting frequencies in different ways can make hearing enemy sounds in different scenarios, and even your own footsteps, much more or less noticeable than without. At the end of the day, it comes down to personal preference. Sound, like taste, is experienced differently by different people. While numbers and charts are often very interesting, I think in this case, experiencing sounds without any numbers or charts or anything like that is more practical and powerful. Don't let anybody tell you what you should prefer. Educate yourself on the considerations, compare, and make up your own mind. Let's finish this off with the last few set of tests where all of these things combine. EQ, compression, volume, all of these things come together to provide definitely different experiences between the different headphones and also compared to without. Alrighty, that does it for all the tests. Let's tally up your scores, and we can reveal which was which. A was the tactical sport headset. B were the GSSHs. C were the Sordens. D was the Razer. And E were the Contact 2s. Leave a comment below with which headset you preferred, or if, you didn't notice a difference between them, or if you preferred no headsets or something like that. I'm super curious to know. As always, I hope you guys learned something and enjoyed the video. Consider heading over to JUJUenergy.com and using code Veritas10 so that I can get my own flavor, and come by the stream and say hello soon. See you guys later.